What's up, everybody? My name is Matt, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, but I'm back to talk about some more updates regarding Shiba Inu. If you guys are new, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and let's get right into it, folks. So, if you guys have not already been seeing what the market has been, sort of giving us here on the day, it's all around been a little bit lackluster. And actually, on the week, we haven't really had an awful lot of movement. And people have talked to me in the comments about this and saying they'd like when I do these little recaps at the beginning of these videos. So, when we look at the market as a whole, and I try to, do that a lot, SHIB hasn't really moved in the past week. It's only been down around 3%, which is pretty much expected when what we are witnessing is really just a slow bleed from Bitcoin and Ethereum here. Because really, when Bitcoin is below 50, no matter what happens, it always is going to take a little bit more effort to, gain some kind of bullish movement with Bitcoin not performing too hot. And this is kind of the problem with what happens with SHIB, is that a lot of the time Shiba Inu is reliant on Bitcoin to move up, but also falls victim when Bitcoin works down, and that causes SHIB to drag down. So when we take a look at our stats, of course, we are a little bit below $19 billion here in market cap, with a volume here of only around $1 billion, which might sound like a lot, but on the 24-hour, that's definitely not too hot. So that's down 38.5%. When we look at the historical data here, you guys can see that it has been on some previous days, day before Christmas here was around 2 billion. So we're around half of that now. And you guys can see it gradually has sort of decreased all along, except for yesterday, which actually was back to the 2 billion number almost. So that was kind of odd. And you guys can see that really we have this fall from around 39 all the way down to at one point here for the low around 33, which is definitely not too hot. Before we go any further, guys, make sure to check out Webull down below in the description. If you guys like to get started trading SHIB and other cryptocurrencies and stocks, you guys can do that by signing up my link. And if you guys use my link only for the remainder of 2021, so only a couple of days more, but if you guys want to use my link, you guys get 5 free stocks. That's right, 5, not 4. 5 free stocks for signing up with the link down below in the description. And again, this is only available for the rest of 2021, so make sure to get started soon. All right, so there is a lot of good news coming out here that I think you guys will probably be invested in. Mostly the fact that tonight we're going to be seeing at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I am on Eastern time, so right now it is 6:15 right now for me Eastern time. So right now we are around 3 hours away from the Shiba Inu Ask Me Anything here on Twitter. They're talking about this, the very first Twitter Spaces here with David Gokhshtein, who is a pretty big crypto guy. I've seen him a lot on Twitter. I don't follow him or anything, but he seems like a pretty big crypto guy who I've seen here. So that's going to be on Twitter Spaces, which definitely does look good. And of course, if you guys have not already seen as well, they have their own sort of communication portal here for the Shiba Inu ecosystem. So they will be talking about this here. There is one post from yesterday on the communication portal. So this is definitely cool. Just a nice way to share announcements and things like that with the community. So when we take a look at our graph, guys, there is, a lot to sort of unpack here, but mainly what I wanted to show you guys is kind of our moving average hasn't really changed all that much. I mean, really, if we wanted to start from a conservative estimate from the beginning of the month, when really a lot of this surge here near the end of November that pushed us to the early 50s, when this surge kind of fell down and lost some of its steam, it bottomed out here at around 30. If we are to sort of calculate where things are headed, it's really not moved that much since the beginning of the month, and that isn't always a bad thing. But, ideally we would have hoped that this could have moved up a little bit more. But the problem when you are left with something like this is that you are sort of given the situation that it is kind of inevitable to fall victim to Bitcoin's movement, like I was talking about earlier. So, when you're not having any major, buying sprees where we have 5 billion in volume, 10 billion in volume, like some crazy days, November 30th, let's say, when you have crazy days like this, you're left with more independence in terms of what the price is when you don't move all that much. it's very easy to fall victim to Bitcoin being stagnant, Ethereum, the big guys being stagnant, causing Shiba Inu to also be stagnant. So that's definitely something we're worrying about. But when I look at this, I do see these signs of a symmetrical wedge. It's not quite as pretty again as some of those examples would be, but it definitely does look like it could be a symmetrical wedge, which you guys can see right here on screen. And something like this would typically be bullish, and that's when, of course, the top is headed down and the bottom is headed up, and they meet somewhere in the middle. This is a symmetrical wedge, and again, typically will create some kind of movement like this and ultimately can be bearish. Now, again, it's not 100% accurate to that, but we have to do our best. We have to estimate, and it definitely does seem like it could be a symmetrical wedge kind of movement. So definitely on the lookout for that. And then, of course, we also have the inevitable kind of rounding of this top here from early, December 21st here, 22nd, the early 20s here in December to right around now. So this rounding on the top is not particularly good, because what that really could do is it could make an inverted cup and handle, something like this, which typically when you have an inverted cup and handle, you are left with a bearish move downwards. So definitely not too hot if this movement comes true. So again, a lot of technical analysis like this is just trying to get these patterns kind of ingrained in your head and trying to be able to pick these out, but ultimately they don't mean all that much without other context. I could look at this right now and say, oh my goodness, Shiba Inu is rocketing right now because it's up from what it was on the 20th. It's going to rocket. We're going to see, continual rocketing like this. But to be honest with you, I can't say that, because Bitcoin and the rest of the market, when we look at the rest of the market, isn't doing all that hot. So that's going to make it a lot harder for Shiba Inu to respond to some kind of bullish signal here and just rocket on its way. Because if Bitcoin is down 5% one day, it's very hard for SHIB to break through that. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, when we take a look at the Fibonacci retracement, of course, you guys can see outlining the top and the bottom of the most recent run. So from the Fibonacci retracement, you guys can see we start at around 40, and then we are left at the bottom here with around 34, and really not showing all that much except that we fall from 40 down to where we are now. But we do try to head back up to the 23.6% spot, but that serves as a resistance, and we fall down and we're back into the low 30s. So we were not able to pass the line of resistance here at 23.6. And we check the relative strength index, of course, you guys can see it is going to show basically the sort of market conditions right now and what the buy and sell volume is considered to be. So as you guys can tell, we see a period where it is getting on the higher end of the buying, and of course that coincides with us being at around 39.40. Then we fall all the way down right now to around the bottom here of the relative strength index. So this very well could be a good time to buy back in, as this would head back up. We very well could watch it break back into like the mid 30s or something like that. So definitely good to note that the relative strength index is showing this to be a bottom on the day, and very well, could be a good time to dollar cost average in. And looking at the relative strength index is probably the best thing you could do if you are trying to dollar cost average in, because it's easy. You just wait for the relative strength index to be near the bottom, and typically this will be a lower price to buy in. And then if you are looking to sell, you wait for the relative strength index to be near the top, and that might be a better time to sell. So if that's something you're looking to do, I definitely do recommend that. But if you want to know when I buy and sell a crypto ever, make sure to check out the Patreon, guys. The link down below in the description. It is so easy to do, and I give tips on NFTs, tips on cryptos I am buying and selling, and access to a private group chat on Discord. So if you guys are interested in any of that, definitely go ahead and check out the Patreon link down below in the description. So that being said, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Matt. I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.